Hey guys, what's going on? Let me flip that around. How's everyone? Yeah, we are here. I think if I let the stream sit there for a little bit, if it allows people to kind of fill in so it actually starts right then. Otherwise, if I start it right away, I talk for like 30 seconds or so and nothing happens. So we've kind of been on the deal. What's going on, Dominic? What finished what? For hatch lids? I'd recommend you get them powder coated from us, but if you can't do that, then self-etching primer and I think Ace Rust Stop is like the strongest stuff. You can also rough them up with like 40 grit or 30 grit orbital sandpaper. Like rough them up pretty good and just make sure you decontaminate the aluminum with, I would say acetone is probably going to be your strongest agent. You can use denatured alcohol and or acetone. And then once you make sure the hull is really kind of clean, then you can paint it actually with any primer. Any primer will work. So I have done that too. I try to use self-etching primer just because it has the etching agent in it. I still prep the aluminum the same. I still hit it with an orbital sander like this one. And you can tell that's some pretty gritty sandpaper. It's either 40 grit or 36 grit orbital sandpaper. And I rough up any aluminum I'm going to paint. I rough it up, especially the hull. I'll rough it up to that texture. And then that's what it is. You're pretty much etching it. So self-etching primer or etch wash, any of those etching agents are there to etch their way into the aluminum. So it more or less eats through the oxidation and some of the other stuff. The slick surface that allows pretty much nothing to really like to stick to it. It etches its way into it. But if you make the etch into it, then the primer will stick into it, as long as you don't have any contaminants on it. So again, that's where you decontaminate it with acetone. Our guys down there, I don't think they've used self-etching primer or etch wash for a very, very long time. When there is professional paint jobs done, there is etch wash. Etch wash is the best way to do it. And I don't know, Total Boat was out of etch wash last time I checked. I looked everywhere, all over the internet, scoured it. And I ended up just giving up and doing what I told you to do. And I've actually painted, when I painted those micro anchors for my pond prowler, when I painted some other stuff, I painted the ones for the yak. That was just all aluminum. It was the last time I painted it, and that's held up. None of it chips off. And if we're talking about like tough spray paint, the toughest actual most durable spray paint I've ever got was Ace Rust Stop. If you guys have an Ace hardware around you, that stuff is legit. The primer and the paint, but specifically the primer, holds true. Like seriously, it does. What's going on, guys? 29 of you piled in here pretty quickly. Thank you, guys. Can I get 29 likes in here so we can end up getting like 50 or 60 people? Hopefully. I appreciate that. Let me see what else you guys got going on here. We'll do a little bit of Q&A. What's going on, Andrew Love? Damien and Dominic, Frequent Flyers here in TBNation Live. And what we were doing today, guys, in the midst of questions. If you guys want to ask questions. Hey, what's going on, Jeremy? What are you doing? That's Jeremy from 24/7 Boats, a very talented guy, part of our crew. He likes to be low-key, but he's super smart gentleman, and he helps us out a lot. There's some like key players out there that don't really care to get to be in the spotlight, and Jeremy's one of them. So say hi to Jeremy. He's 24/7 Boats. What's going on, King Cut? King Cut him up? That's pretty funny. Dual Dude, Sycamore. Hey, Sycamore's here. How have you been? What's going on, RF? Oh, God. Look who's here. He came. So Chris is here. All right. Just joking. All right. Sweet. If you're currently building 1648 with your products, Cameron Bragg, then you, my friend, are right. You were doing it the right way, because guess what? We are also building a 1648 with our products, and look how it's turning out. It's turning out pretty good. But we'll get to that to a second. Do I like bass tracker boats? Yeah. Yeah, I don't like how they're built, but do I like the hull? Yeah. It's a nice little hull. What's going on, Al? Al's able to show up to the live. All right, so today is going to be a little bit of Q&A, a little bit of giveaways. But we're going to talk about where we're at here in the boat. And we're really at the point where we got to start thinking about how to rig the motor And so we're a little bit of this is an outboard discussion, because I know everybody likes to talk a little bit about outboards. And so some of the questions you guys might have about outboards, ask away. I'm going to try and answer them all naturally. HydroTurf is going on sale. Is it this week? It is this week. Can't tell you when, but it is. So every day of the 12 days of Christmas, there's something going on sale. So all of our stuff is on sale right now, all of it. Framing kits. We even give gift cards. Like once you went over a certain amount, you get a huge gift card back. Some people can get up to like, I don't know, hundreds of dollars of gift cards, I think. So if you buy one big kit, you get gift cards, and then you can use that to go buy an electrical kit or use it to buy turf. So $300 of turf will take you a long way. That'll get you a few sheets. And so, I mean, some people are strategically planning out the sale buying and just waiting for the key days. And medieval trumpet music. Who made Send It John Boats a mod on this chat? Who did? Somebody else, man. All right. I don't know who did that. All right. Thank you, Kevin Jackson. Appreciate it. And all right. I cannot tell you the actual day. It's a surprise. But it's like soon. Because it's supposed to be, I think, the week just before Christmas, and it's almost, what? Just before Christmas. So it's like one of the next days. We're having the 12 days of Christmas up until Christmas. Obviously, it's up until Christmas. And then after that, we'll be talking about what we're going to be doing after that. Fishing vlogs on these boats. Who is that? Who said that? Jverse. So, fish vloggers are a unique specimen. They're like right there with tournament fishermen. And so I just don't hang with those people. I mean, they're on the other side of the spectrum, but they're kind of two halves of the same plate. And they're the kind of plate I don't like dealing with. I mean, in order to be a fish blogger, you've got to like blow out people's fishing spots and do things. And fish bloggers are slightly worse. They're slightly less worse than tournament anglers because, I don't know, slightly worse because they catch, photo, release. They generally don't. I mean, some of them harvest their stuff, but other than that, they're kind of, I don't know. They blow out spots, and if I started like fish blogging here, I would start blowing out my spots or blowing out people's spots here in the lake, and then a lot of local haters who think everything's hidden even though it's not would start coming after me. Then I would have to deal with that, which I don't mind. I mean, bring the heat, but... And then also it's just a lot of work. Because there's a lot of times I go out there and I struggle to catch fish, so it would be very, very boring. I don't know, the people who can fish blog, like the YouTube fishermen, pretty good people. Fishing is still a big part of this, so when I do catch a fish and I can secure it, I do. It's not a lot of it. It's not a lot with this channel. People don't they come here because obviously I know a little bit about fishing, which is how we can build these boats, but like I don't know. And I also screen the most obscene things. They're very embarrassing. All you're gonna hear is background music. You can't hear anything I say when I catch a fish. It's X-rated. So all right. Well, you want to see real life fishability? We can do that, but I mean, I have videos like that, but we can definitely do real life fishability on these boats. The person this boat's going to, the kids we're sponsoring with it, will be definitely getting us footage. They're much better fishers than I am, so we'll actually get to see fish caught on it. Whatever happened with Bass Bros? No, Bass Brothers DMV? He's still here. I mean, he's one of the key people in our network. We really like him in. But he is his own network, so he does his own thing, kind of like Anthony Jones. We're all friends. We all get together. We all hang out and do stuff. But at the end of the day, they got their name and their brand, and that's what they want to push. So, I would definitely respect them for that. We just talked to Anthony, and I just talked to Naeem this past week, actually. Do I watch Guggen Squad? I used to, but I mean, mainly because I used to, but I don't have time to even watch myself. So, yeah, and AO Fishing is pretty awesome too. Like, I really respect the fish bloggers. I do. I respect what they've done. Like, we in a sense are trying to be like the Guggens, but for boats. Like, we aspire to be like them. I don't hate them. Like, I don't like they blow out spots and some other things they do, but I mean, they probably don't like what I do. So some of them don't like me, so I don't, whatever. I low-key have it out with a few fish bloggers. Just a few, not all of them. Definitely not with the Googans. Actually, if the Googans came out here to Havasu, I'd put them on a boat for free. Go have fun. So, I mean, it would be a thing I would just do for them. They floated down here in Havasu once. They went and fished off the dock. And I was thinking to myself, you should just message me. I mean, fish. They still caught fish. They did what they did. So, Cody Wright. You have a short shaft with joystick drive. Your transom is tall. You don't want to get rid of the motor. Should I trim the transom? You can do that. I have done that. It just depends. It's really hard to undo that. To undo that, you'll probably need to weld. Or do some serious like riveting work to extend it back to 20 inch. So if you cut it down to a 15 or 16 inch, you're gonna have to like, yeah, just, I don't know. I've done it. I did it to my main boat, but I ended up putting it back to a 20 inch when I got a bigger motor. Mini jacker will not jack it down far enough. Oh, jack it up? Like it would, no. And because here's the whole thing with about jack plates on a smaller transom. So say you got a long shaft motor and you only have a 15-inch transom. If you put a jack plate that had a 6-inch rise, it would just be kind of, you would still be kind of missing it, because for every 3 inches back you can go up an inch. No, you would still get it. It would be kind of the same, but you would be off by an inch. The motor would still drag. You wouldn't get any speed out of it, but it would run. I guess it would run appropriately, but it would run like there was no jack plate on it to begin with if you did that. So like the 2-stroke one, yeah, 2-stroke is still king for sure. If you can even. Oh, I like Tightline TV Dominic. He's pretty awesome. He's pretty awesome, but he does more than just fishing vlog. He does a lot of other things. He's a really talented filmmaker. So obviously we sponsored him, so clearly we like him. So RF, do I think an electric motor industry is going to change much? Well, I just saw them put out a Super Cat, which is a 30 foot like a catamaran, like a tunnel boat with 2 monstrous electric outboards, and they did 116 miles an hour on that thing. And that's pretty fast considering the equivalent size Super Cats out here running like Mercury 450Rs or twin Mercury 450Rs or twin Mercury 500s. They're only doing like 130. Second time I did that. They're only doing 130. So they almost caught the top outboards out there on the market today in the same style catamaran superboat. So I would say that Vision Marine is probably the key winner. Vision Marine is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody besides probably Elon Musk. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk is running that stuff behind the scene. So look out for Vision Marine. If you guys want to look out for advancements, look for Vision Marine. They are freaking just destroying it. All right, let me see here. Everyone liked the video. Yeah, listen to Dominic Glimp. Everybody liked the video. 52 people in here. I need 50 something likes. What tools do I recommend for cutting aluminum? That's a good question. Yeah, let's just go off the cuff and talk about things that are useful versus what I thought. Because when you guys guide the live, it's always better. Let's talk about that. So we put this here. We'll put this here. Okay, so I got, it's gonna take like a long time. Now that somebody asked me that, I just realized how many tools I have to cut aluminum, and I'm just gonna, oh, here. So you stop looking at me at this awkward camera angle. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it here while I lay them all out. Deal? I'll lay them all out for you. That one. That one. This one. Okay, we'll talk about best to worst case scenarios. Yeah, I'll just talk about best to worst case scenarios for all these things. I think having this deck is so big on this boat, I don't really know what I would do with a smaller deck. could theoretically also use an oscillating tool, but we're going to go ahead and leave that one out because it's definitely like a last-ditch effort. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. No. No. I think Jeremy and Nate, they try implicitly say that I have a tool problem. But who has an actual tool problem? They have a tool problem. You go to my shops, they have tool problems. I don't have a tool. I have problems here in this garage, like big problems, but tools is not one of them. Here, all right, here we go. Let's talk about what I like to use. So clearly, when we're cutting small aluminum, like 16th inch angle, I really love to use the mini bandsaws. They are, and there's two on. Just like for all you DeWalt guys out there, I do like some DeWalt things. I just don't like a lot of what they have. So, but what they do have, I like. So this little Atomic Extreme, yeah, whatever. This was a really powerful, like brushless bandsaw. That thing killed it. It is really something else. And it's a standard one with a 27 inch, I think, blade on it. I mean, this size bandsaw has been a staple size forever. And Milwaukee's out here trying to break the mold. Finally, this last year, where they put out one that's slightly bigger than this one. But they also had a smaller one that was just like this one. Just it was crappier. So I thought they would eventually put a fuel one out to meet this one, but they went and did it one more. Made a 30-inch bandsaw because this opening here, this opening is just, it just seems like it's just short of actually cutting some things. Like you could just barely stick a piece of 1/2 inch ankle, just barely. This one you can cut like almost 3-inch tubing, definitely 2-inch tubing much more comfortably. But I wouldn't go much farther over 1/16 or like 14 gauge, which is 090 with this one, because like the only blades you can get with it are just soft metal. And the thing is a battery hog. They'll eat a 3.0 battery up like nothing. This one we talked about was Goldilocks. This is my favorite. This thing will cut everything. It's got a monstrous, almost 4-inch, like 3.5-inch opening. That will cut most things. Most people don't have 3 by anything. That thing will cut most things. Not everything, but it's very well balanced. This is very big, but you can still use it on one hand because they located the battery here versus up here, where it forced you to kind of use both hands on the 32-inch. This is 35 and 3/8 inch. This is my favorite. It was also most expensive, which whatever. But here. This one, I would love it to be my favorite. It is one of it's like top 3 favorites. This thing will cut anything. It's got blade, and it has more options. It's got blades for soft metal, for hard metal, for thick metal. It's got speeds, and not to mention the ginormous opening here. This will cut, I mean, I cut 3 by 3-inch steel with this one. I can also do that with this one. But this one, I mean, when I'm doing real big deals like cutting and welding trailers or any real big pieces, this thing just saves you. It'll run right through it. You can also one-hand this one if you're strong, but see whereas the battery's up here and they relocated the battery down here. If they relocated this battery down here, it'd probably be much more easy to like one-hand it, but this is a beast. It's the heaviest one, but also the most capable. Bandsaws are my preferred way of cutting aluminum. There's also this one. So I have some Sawzalls here. Sawzalls are my least favorite way of cutting anything, but sometimes they're the only thing you can get in that corner. And so I don't like Sawzalls because of this. Yeah. I don't like Sawzalls because of this. That generally happens. And then don't listen to Chris at Send to Jombos. He's clearly giving you bad advice. We don't even know why anybody modded him on here. Somebody kick him out. Don't tell people to buy Harbor Freight. I mean, if that's all you can get, then that's all you can get. But I wouldn't. If you can get Milwaukee, but you choose Harbor Freight, then you'll be like Chris, who can never get boats done. just joking here. This one, by the way, this is a hacksaw. I swear, this is in many people's opinion. If you go on YouTube, this is the crappiest tool Milwaukee makes. This little brushed tool hacksaw. A lot of people hate it, but for aluminum work, I love it. For some odd reason, I don't know if it's just the weakness of it, but it gives you just enough power and control to cut through thin aluminum without wrecking your stupid blade like this. I've had this blade on forever. It just seems like in a real tight spot, this thing, it just makes it. I love this thing. Everybody else hates it. I love it. Obviously, the other one is a grinder, which a lot of people, this is their first way of cutting things. This should be your last way of cutting things. The death wheel is called the death wheel for a reason. And not only do you risk serious bodily harm and injury every time you start this thing, it is also way less efficient at cutting literally anything else. Second one is the jigsaw. The jigsaw does not like thin aluminum unless you run oil on it. But obviously we use it for sheet metal. Oh, I got another one. Check this one out, guys. That's an actual nibbler. It's a Milwaukee Fuel M12 nibbler. That thing is also, obviously we use it for sheet metal. That'll cut up to 1/8 inch. So I'll be using obviously for 090. But that'll cut an actual bend very slowly. I think Chris is the first one to actually try it. Chris actually has that one. He's talking all that crap about Harbor Freight Tools. He went and bought that. He showed it to me. For a very long time, I had this jigsaw. It's a cheap M12 brush jigsaw. This one lasted a real long time too, but eventually I had to move to that. That thing actually is a lot better. It's also a lot more expensive. Then, of course, the skill saw for sheet metal. I love the skill saw is king. Oh, I got one more thing to show you too. And then this one, though not as powerful, is slightly less dangerous and gives you a little bit more control. You got like the whole grip here versus that standard. I do like to use that when I can. Just many times it's just easier to use that. Let me get one more tool here. This tool for cutting sheet metal. Guys, leave a like for all these tools. Okay? So if you give me more likes, then this video will get monetized more and I can possibly buy even more tools. Yeah, it's kind of for my own personal gain. I'm sorry. Here we go. Wildfet. Don't worry about the brand. What you got to worry about is this is a 14 gauge nibbler or electric shear. Don't get the 18 gauge or the 20 gauge electric shear. It's useless. 14 gauge electric shear is a generic knockoff. This is a generic Amazon knockoff. Harbor Freight had a Bauer one. I love that thing. I haven't seen one in there since. I think they got rid of it, but this electric shear will cut 090 aluminum sheeting, and it'll also cut 1/8 sometimes. We have broken it on 1/8. It likes to break on 1/8, so we don't try it a lot, but it will cut in short runs 1/8. But it cut right through any sheet metal. This is what I like to cut sheet metal on. But when I need actual precision, I use the skill saws or the circular saws. So somewhere down the line, one of these is getting used to cut stuff. And that's just for cutting. Because if we like go into it really faceting is like the other thing. So obviously I really like these. And you know the rule, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So we have 2 of everything. And then the Milwaukee Gen 4. These are the Gen 4 M18 fuels. These I really did like. The Gen 3 was just, I liked it. I like its sheer power. For whatever reason, though, this one has a lot more control. Yeah, I feel. It isn't just so powerful that it breaks everything. It has a lot more control. And I still got a little... I tried to give DeWalt a chance. Everybody was giving me crap for like not giving DeWalt a chance. I tried. They're all right. They're just not better. Their batteries are better for sure. That's one thing they do have, batteries. But I mean, if the battery's great but the tool is just lacking, is the battery really a bragging point? I don't know. This is also a really good one here. The Milwaukee multi-head. Well, these are both multi-head. These are both multi-heads. Here, let me show you something. On the multi-heads. So this is the DeWalt multi-head. It's got an interlocking head. This is the elevated one here. Which I think this one's actually crappier, but still very effective. This one has that one. It also has a chuck setting for if you want to use a drill. These are our chuck settings on here. Same thing with this one. And DeWalt has the exact same equivalent head. So we got a collet head, a chuck head, and an elevated bend head like this, and then obviously a 90-degree angle head like this. And then also the Bosch Chameleon. The Bosch Chameleon is another one that people like. It's the exact same thing. But if you check for the Milwaukee, this is why this one loses simply by design. You see this head, and then you look at this. because this is not lower than that, it defeats the purpose of that in a lot of cases where the Milwaukee is completely flat. So if you get the head, see, you get a true elevation over the top, so you can actually get in that corner, and then it's not bending because the head here is touching the wall that this thing's supposed to be clearing. You can actually get right in the corner. And it also has little spots here for like screws. People who make cabinets or do any sort of intricate carpentry work would probably love this thing, but they're using Festool and other like super high dollar elite tools, but you know, we're not. That's way above anything we personally need to use. Jeez, that's a lot. I gotta put all that back. Dang. All right. So let me see. While I put all this back, what else you guys got? Maybe I can talk about something. Let me talk about. All right. Next to the rivet gun, the multi-head rivet is top for sure. Definitely. I don't know. The multi-head gun is more useful than the rivet gun because it gets used more. I mean, the rivet gun only gets used for rivets. The multi-head driver gets used for literally everything else because it can do everything else. When you get into intricate fabrication work, like what we're doing with these boats, this little thing here gets real annoying real quickly. So, I don't know. Those installation drivers are just a game changer. Like stuff that you would end up spending hours trying to get. Because like one thing you'll think will take you 5 minutes and it'll take you hours because you just can't get that angle, or it's in a stupid section. Problems you couldn't foresee now happen. That's the main reason. Hold on. That's the main reason with my. Come on. Look, dude, come on. Okay, that's the main reason for my. It's not a tool obsession. I call it a tool necessity. So if I got one driver, right? I got two of each. If I put one of these with 3/16 drill bit on one side of the boat and one of the other, one river gun, I have 3 sets of tools. I just got to walk around the boat. So I mean, it's good. So if you have a shop of people, you can have the shittiest tools. Excuse me, I'll probably get demonetized for that. But you can have the crappiest tools, and nobody will know. Because you got like 5 dudes working on the boat. So like you break even. But if you're working by yourself with crappy tools, you will feel it. So that's like, you know, where Nate's like, you have a tool problem. I was like, no, dude, you have a tool problem, you just don't know it. You got compensators. So, but I started out building boats with the crappiest tools. Like I just thought tools were tools. I went and bought like I think from Goodwill. I think I ran into some Porter cable, old brush drill, and a brush driver, and the brush driver I couldn't even use that thing. It was like impact driver. So it was a brush drill, I think a brush grinder, and I think I had a brush sawzall. I got like a little 4-pack hit. I thought that was the awesomest thing ever. I had like the best tools, and I don't know, man. I remember how long it took me to build a boat with those things, and I remember after buying a rivet gun, and obviously that was the start to all this. The rivet gun started all this. But once I got a driver like the M18 or even the little M12 driver, that's another one that's really powerful. This one right here, and like with 12 volts, is more powerful than a lot of 18 and 20 volt drivers out there. Like it's truly a monster, especially with a bigger battery, like a 6.0 battery. It's a monster. Once you get a taste of those and what they can do and how much faster you can go with better tools and how much longer without problems, it just makes more sense to get tools. Like all I have here is simply to make my life easier, because as a solo person building anything, it sucks. Like it does. So for all you guys doing your own DIY projects, respect. You guys have our utmost respect for doing it, because I'll tell you what, man, it's something else. It really is. I still got so many to put away. Look. Here, let's put these away here. We'll put these away here. So you can stop. All right, then we go here. Where's this one go? Look at that. Right. This one goes here. I hate that thing. All right. Here. This is really hard to do with one hand. I'm gonna give up. I'm giving up. Let's get back to something useful. You guys have any questions? Let's talk about questions. Well, I guess calmly set the rest of these on the floor because the two-handed setaway is not working here. Have I developed a transit mount bracket yet for the Minn Kota so we can? Easy Mount has one. Easy Mount. If you look up Easy Mount trolling motor mounts, they're specifically made to mount to the side of a gunnel of a V-hull or a John boat, like right on there. They're pretty good. We actually tried to work with that guy. That didn't work out, but his product is still pretty good. He even actually sells a whole trolling motor with the Easy Mount on it. So it looks just like a Minn Kota, but it has the Easy Mount, and it works. Let's see, what's this one? All right. Good there. We're almost done. Yeah. What else you guys got? Okay, we're done with that. Now we can actually, when we look at the boat later, it'll make sense. What drill bits, design, and material? I just get I get bulk. I go to Harbor Freight and I just buy their titanium or their Hercules titanium 3/16 inch drill bits or 1/8 inch drill bits. To me personally, black oxide is better, but black for drilling for aluminum, some odd reason, for thin aluminum. But there's just not a lot of them out there, and then the ones you find are not impact ready. So the ones that you get from here, these are impact ready, and they come in the packs of 3. I buy the whole kit out. People probably hate me for doing that. Like they got like 3 packs in there. I take all 3 or 4 every time I go there because I'll be going there a lot and they're just out of stock. So when they're there, I try to get them, and then those to me work really well. But I mean, our guys down at our shops, they just buy 100 of them in bulk and just run them in a straight drill. I don't know, I like them. I mean, these impacts, they are impacts, and you're not supposed to really put them in there because they don't have a little torque. They don't have that little section cut out to be torque rated for impacts. But I rarely really have any drill bits break. I like running the drill bits at the impacts a little better than the drills. The drills are generally bulkier, longer. The impacts are just more compact, especially like when you're running one of these. This thing is super compact. There's not a drill that is more compact than this. The closest one is obviously this one, but look. Actually, this one gets close, but it's not. It's still too long. And then like I know DeWalt has their atomic line or mini line. I don't know what they have, but the small ones, or their little 12-volt line. So I just that's generally what I like. And then obviously a lot of people ask me about how to countersink. If you get one of our kits, you need countersink rivets. These are countersink bits. These are the bits. They're countersink / deburring bits. That's what they're called. That's how we got all those rivets flush in there. And those are also at Harbor Freight. All my consumables, drill bits, countersink bits, any kind of bits, generally try and get at Harbor Freight, unless they're really specialty bits like for thick metal that I need to actually get some quality stuff. And so I do have some drill bits for that. But a really good drill bit set is in excess of $100. I can never bring myself to do it. I just always just don't do it. So where am I getting countersink rivets? From us. You can also get them from McMasterCard if you want to deal with our website and prices. But we have it pretty streamlined exactly for what you need for here versus having to look at a million different SKUs. And they also come with our kits. So you can just buy rivets. A lot of people just buy rivets. We sell a lot of rivets. And we also sell a lot of hinges. The people buy hinges left and right. So a lot of people are still doing a lot of wood decks. They're not really on board with the whole aluminum hatches things. So it's about the same. Let me see if I missed something. All right, guys. If you're new to the chat, we have our 12 Days of Christmas sale going on. Almost everything has been released on for sale at TBNation.net, but there are still a few more days left, so a few last secret items will be released for sale. Pretty big discounts. So if you're trying to like plan for the upcoming spring to get your boat ready by then, and you're just kind of waiting, this is the time you're kind of waiting to bulk buy stuff, it's now. Because we will not throw another sale like this again for, well, probably until December. Ever do, okay, Ken Cannon, ever do another 12-hole OG kayak killer? If the light skiff didn't come out and totally blow out anything I've ever done, I probably would try again. But really, I don't know. I could, in order to equal that, it's actually kind of doing you guys a disservice. Because to really pimp out that yak killer that I did there, the OG one, that was a pretty expensive boat. And it was, and whatever wasn't expensive, the amount of time it took to microframe that whole thing to get all those compartments in there was miserable. It was miserable. And that was actually our most viewed kit on the website and my most viewed video on my channel, period, in terms of views. And we've only sold like 2 or 3 kits. And the people who reached out to me with those kits were like super high IQ people who just wanted to do it. And so it wasn't very doable, I guess, for like people. So I've tried to steer away from like this build's pretty advanced, I guess, in terms of advancements as far as stuff I've been trying to do more conservative builds. Because even if people can do it, which a lot of you can, it's all about time. I've wasted so much time in this garage. It paid off, right? But for a long time it was rough and hairy. And if you're not gonna do what I do later on, there's no point to kill yourself in a garage when you just make it simpler. So we try to make simple, kind of like simple things, more simple processes. Okay. Gator bag bunks are tomorrow? Oh, they are. How'd you know that? Somebody told you? Nobody's supposed to be leaking that information. Is Chris leaking information? How would you, okay, what extra did I budget for a tracker tournament V18? I would not build that one out of Gen X lid builder systems anyway. I would buy legit lids for that. I would $5 grand could probably frame and deck that boat. Between $5 and $6 grand could probably build that boat really nice. And then obviously any add-ons you do with the electronics and trolling motors and accessories, that's add-on. But to build the raw materials into the boat, between $5 to $6. If I could do that again, I would put one giant center rod locker, one of our actual rod locker hatches, and I would make the similar layout. It would just be a whole lot nicer like this one. I mean, the deck is much bigger on a V18 than this one, but it would be very similar. I'd have a trolling motor tray up here with our cup caddy, tool diz combo. I'd have dual day boxes, so I'd really not have to leave the front unless I absolutely had to. Like this is my plan. I throw all my strategy, right? It's still an obscene amount of tackle in these. Up to 8 tackle boxes between the two, plus worm bags, plus anything. So between that, I'm trying to put my main strategy in these boxes so I can stay here on this pedestal, stay on the graphs. And if whatever I got fails and goes terribly wrong, then I'll bust into this thing. I don't know if I can get it open. This thing is monstrous. Dang it. Hold on. If you don't succeed, use tools. I'll have to two-hand this. All right. All right, I can't get it open, so I'm going to cheat. Ha! Cheated. All right. There we go. So this is... I would stick all my main gear and tackle in just a main stow. Just for, seriously, this is like, I don't need it right now, but I need to have it on board all the time. That's where all that stuff would go, right? Like all the tackle I'm not using for the day, that I'm not initially trying to do for that day, it would go in here. All my primary tackle here, secondary tackle, and then in here, you get this one open. Oh, I almost had it. I really got to drill lid holes in here. I had this problem. I had drilled. Okay, there we go. This is a day box. So I mean, this is a shallow day box. These are deep, deep day boxes. This is a shallow day box. So your phone, keys, wallets, immediate items you need to find in a shallow space here. I'll run that here. And then if this was a little bit longer, I could have honestly run a rod locker, but you really need a 17 or 18 foot boat minimum for any sort of center rod locker to be useful. So that's why we always run it on the side. Over here, this piece of limit is just covering up the void that we're going to fill with foam after we run conduits through it. This is just an extra hatch. That I had another one that was an equivalent 12 by 30 hatch. So that one, we're either thinking about making this a gear stow or putting batteries here. We will be putting one more hatch right there, and that's this one, because we got one more to put in here, so why not? And I want you to look at the layout of this boat. So this is the RPD consoles, Revolution Product Design. We started carrying these center consoles. They're just much easier and cheaper than what we can even produce with aluminum. And so, guys, these are on our website right now. And I'll tell you what, seeing this on online, they don't look terribly impressive. But actually seeing this and putting my hand, getting a feel for it, seeing how easy it is to install, seeing that it has an actual groove right here to go right onto the gunnel, like so. Goes right in there like that. And then it has screw points. Just holes right there already with screw points, so you can just attach it right in. Then it's got adjustability heights over here. It's got a few other things in the box, but I just have this out here for layout to make sure my whole layout works. But these are really nice too. I think these are also probably go on sale. I would check these out for sale if you're looking for a console. We'll be installing all the motor stuff here pretty soon. But we're going to be putting another hatch there, and I'm either going to use that one for a secondary. I would like to use that one for batteries, because for one, we're going to be using all lithium. So weight is not terribly a big deal. So I'm thinking I really like a battery storage right here. And then the co-angler back here is not going to have any place to store extra tackle unless we leave this one open for extra tackle. So we'll probably leave this one open. Then he'll have two vertical day boxes, one on each side, or probably at least one right there. Probably that one's completely out of the way of the driver, so that one will stay there. And we'll try and run another one of those along the wall. Once we make an actual rod locker wall, we'll run that. And then we're obviously going to be running conduits through here before the foam. That'll go out that way. So you run your transducer mounts, bilge pump wires, any sort of wiring that needs to go through. And we'll also need to run a main channel here like we did with the other boat. And this double railing that we did, the double rail channel, or not channel, but the T-frame that we did all along down the side to tie the whole boat together, that is going to be a key player in how we can make the manifold on the side to hide the steering cable. And that's stuff we're going to be really getting into in the next live, because I'll be really deep into that. I just got this motor. A tech from Fallon Marine came down and unscrewed it up, because I screwed it up. I had it tilting on its side, like right in its back like this, but the motor is already like this. So when I tilted on its back, it pretty much turned the motor upside down. So all the oil drained into the manifold, and it was very bad. So he came in and helped me clean most of it out so the motor doesn't explode when I try to start it. So that was a mess. And I also had to buy a new outboard today, a brand new Gen 4. This is a Gen 3 25 horse. They had this one forever. I brought in a brand new Generation 4 Merc 25 for the other boat because I had a Gen 2, which is pretty much the same thing about Gen 3, but just older, but pretty much the same motor. For whatever reason, that thing is a giant piece of crap. It wouldn't work. So, I mean, the amount of money I was going to take to experiment, if we could fix it, was going to be like not much less than just getting a new motor. So for ease of use and a warranty, we just went and got a new motor. It sucked. But I mean, I don't know. It's an investment. It's an investment. It's not a splurge buy. It's an investment, because we're trying to use that boat for a rental fleet. So that's the motor is the whole motor thing is a sore subject, but it's all right. Let's go over here real quick. And this is our rod locker lid. So another thing. This is our 8x40 rod locker lid. Pay no attention to all this green stuff. I had this sitting outside because of room issues. So this is really skinny. And before I used to think that these weren't really that adequate. because it's so skinny. Like, I have a lot of rods. I want to store a lot of rods. But really, this opening is perfect because look at all the room you have here. So the bigger the rod locker hatch is, remember where your rod's going to be. They're going to be right here, laying down this side. And you're going to be switching rods. I mean, when you open that hatch to get in there for any reason, you're squishing your rods. So, but this whole big gigantic gap here that we're going to have, minus after we bring the gunnel down to the rail, is going to be perfect. So we can open the hatch and just miss the rods. The rods will just be fine and perfectly out there. So this little void section here is actually pretty useful. And the small opening does not actually affect how many rods you can put in this. You can actually, it doesn't affect it at all. And if I'd have known that, I probably would just have run smaller ones this whole time. But we're going to run a smaller opening. It's just going to fit better with the boat, for one, because look how much stuff we're running tight. We're running tight on this boat. After we put that other hatch in there right there, everything's going to be super tight. You're going to have this one little section of cockpit space leading right up to a fairly massive deck. And so you just look at the layout. This layout is what I envisioned for a 1648 if I was ever going to do an elite one. Now, remember, we talked about the reasons why I kind of delayed ever doing one to begin with, because everybody's doing a 1648, but there's only one person I saw who did a boat with this layout. It wasn't with all these hatches, but the layout, which meaning he had a back deck, which acted as a bench for the center console, and then had a massive front deck because he cut out the seats. He cut out that seat and had a much bigger front deck layout. He even had EVA foam. This is a really smart guy, really super talented guy. Back when the TBNation started, he sent me that picture. So that was like 5 years ago, maybe longer. And he had this, but I offered to do a video on it. He didn't really care. He was like one of those people. He's just so smart. He was just doing things, and he was always slaying fish. He always had giants, pigs. He just was just living life. But I did like his layout a lot, and I wanted to pay that kind of forward in this one. So after, obviously, this has been taking a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's working. A lot of this is actually tubing. A bigger part of this is all sealed compartments. These are all compartments. Now, Nate has made drop-in lids so that fit right here on top of the dry track that you can just pull out now, and he's got those in various sizes. So a lot of people are just doing that. So if you wanted to leave this a hollow void and just have drop-in bins for some things like these, obviously the opening is the actual usable spots is smaller than the hatch itself, but it's still very usable. And then plus you can pull it out, and then if you have a hollow void down here, you can put stuff down in here like rope anchors, other things, other odd stuff, and you can just end up pulling the compartment out and getting to it. I have that in my prawn prowler, but these are permanently mounted in here. And they're permanently mounted in here because if you can see down here, I have started to use some of the old sheet metal from this old boat deck, and I've used it to make a subfloor running from this back wall all the way up. I just got to complete it and get rid of some of these little holes, like put tape over them so the pour foam doesn't pour in. Then we got to gap fill all that, because this whole thing will be encapsulated in pour foam, and then this section at least, right until we do the rod locker interface. So here and on that side will be pour foam. And then probably we'll leave that spot blank just because for wiring and other things, we're going to try some little fancy thing now that we got that Revolution console. So that will just, remember we pulled this whole frame away. All that's it's a 1-inch void. A 1-inch void surrounding the entire inner core of the boat. The inner core of the boat has a whole void separating. You can see the void. Any water that flows down and comes here and runs off into the side, doesn't matter. Or run right into the channel and bleed out. So theoretically, no damage should ever happen to this boat from pour foam, any sort of water corrosion. It's got a full aluminum transom. We put that thing in. It's not fully secured because we're probably going to put a jack plate on this thing. But after that, it's this is just where I wanted to be for the boat. Like if I was going to do one, I did a conservative budget one. People wanted, and I just want to put out this concept for people who also want it or want to do something like it or combine the two, because you really could combine the two and do fairly well. Because we really, the other one we did, which we'll be getting back tomorrow, because since we got a motor for it, so you'll get an update on that one too. But since we you know, between the two, between the conservative and then this all out build, we'll see. Yeah, and Fireant Fishing, definitely we have tried. We were aware of port foam issues, right? You got people on here who like hate port foam. On TikTok, the boat community, the boat building community hates port foam. I argue with them all day about it. And their biggest argument is, oh, I pull up boats and I pull boats apart and I pull boats apart and they stink. Like, they're just saturated port foam. It's corrosion and the boats are ruined. I got to gut it out. So people absolutely, across the boat market, for people who work on boats, hate port foam for that reason. But what they really should hate, and I talked about this in an actual video about port foam, which I have on my channel, that is not the port foam, it's the design. Because I ripped apart enough boats. I mean, simply having a middle channel where the water can drain to avoids so much of that damage. Any boat that I've ripped apart that has an actual middle drain does not have corrosion damage. On the bottom of the hull, at least. The transom, yeah, because it's all treated plywood. But on the actual hull, the only ones that I've ever seen have corrosion on the actual hull, besides the transom, are these John boats, including this one had it. And the other one that we did definitely had it. That one had it bad. It's embarrassing. So it's something about the foam laying flat on the deck and the water just being there and never evaporating for long enough. It just sits there and ruins the hull. That's the only thing I can think of why these corrode that way. Also probably bad grounding issues, some other things that will speed up electrolysis in the boat, but the water has to be there. You know, the boat getting electrified, the electrolysis can't happen if the water is not there on the boat. So the water constantly being there in saturated foam, which never lets go of the water ever. Now that just being on your boat for years and years and years, 30 years later, you got a boat like this and it looks like cheese holes. If you got this boat in 30 years, you'll never find. We primered this hull too. This hull that's epoxy primer. So when we got this boat like a few years ago, we epoxy primered the entire thing. The entire inner side of the boat is epoxy primered, and we also painted the outside. So I can't ever see personally this boat ever failing. This boat is meant to last forever when I do it, and it'll also ride very good because the inner part of the boat that is encapsulated with foam will ride fantastic. It'll definitely stiffen up the boat. And at the very front of the boat, it is going to be right on the hull, but that's because there's an upslope. And we're going to have some drain tubes here, which the drain tubes were our primitive version of trying to do what we're doing here in this boat now, but this is a much smarter way. Getting rid of the tubes, relying on the tubes, having to worry about cutting the tubes if the port foam is going to bury the tubes. We'll have some tubes up there because we'll be able to reach them in that spot little void. But aside from that, port foam running all the way through the core, and in these big back foam pockets, plus all the storage we have. And if I can pull it off, like I have a day box right there, like a short day box. I'd like to do a little short day box back here for the coangler, but I just don't know if I can pull it off. It's gonna be a little hard. But it would be short enough and less and not very invasive to the point where it would augment the amount of foam that I could put in to keep the boat safe. And so this boat, I don't know what people will say about this boat, but I'm liking it. But I've also, you know, so let's check it. Rotating rod locker. I've thought about it so many times, Dustin DIY. I'll tell you what, man. I've wanted to do it just to do it for accolades. But when I go to do it, it just, all the things you'd have to do to accommodate a rotating rod locker you just need a big boat, because you need to do so many things to make that work that you'll limit yourself everywhere else. That's why I've never done it. But the rotating rod locker is obviously an awesome thing. I think I saw it in a bass boat watching a tourney one time. It was a long time ago. And I seen that it's like he pulled his rods up and rotated them. Like he just pulled them out. I don't even know who does that. I don't know. Was it Triton? Who was it? It was the sickest thing I ever saw. It really truly was. By the way, guys, 65 people in here, that's pretty big. I think that might just be the biggest live we've had since we started doing lives again. If you were new to the chat, please leave a like. Help us get to 100 likes. We'll start giving away things the higher we get up. Just need a few more likes here, and we'll start giving away some things. And thank you guys for being here. We also have a huge sale on TBNation.net for everything you see here. Everything that we've been kind of going over, that's all on sale. And more of it goes on sale by the day. Oh, look at Senator John Boats hating port foam. Whatever. Okay, if there's anything I gotta tell you guys, don't take Boating advice from Send John Boats. If he don't take it, he's lying to you. I mean, sure, he might be part of my network, and we might have built boats together, and he might be smart, but his comments today are questionable. What do you think here? A big bearing around the in. Well, if you can pull the design off, Dustin, pull it off, and I'll post a video. You can be the star of the video. Like, I'm personally got too many things going on to even try and do that. I don't got a boat big enough to pull that off. I have one boat, but who knows when I'll get to it. Truly. A lazy Susan and a rod locker? I don't even know what that is. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, I don't know. Nah, I don't have skills like that to put a lazy Susan in. That's funny. A lazy Susan rod locker. I don't know. Some of these ideas you guys got are pretty good. Well, Tim, regarding putting pour foam into a plastic bag, people have done that. It gives it an extra layer of seal, I would guess. It wouldn't be the worst thing, but if water sits there and corrodes around the end, it corrodes around the end. And I think water over time, it just depends on the plastic too. It's not the worst idea. Like if what we're doing here is unrealistic for your build, which I understand it might be unrealistic for a lot of people, plastic bags are all right. You'll miss that mechanical bond to the hull, but as long as you get a real tight fit in the compartment or the void that you have, people have done that. People will pour it. And I personally have never done it, but it definitely is an idea that people do and that people have floated. I don't know if it'll melt the plastic. That's one I think, because the pour foam gets real hot. So I don't know if it would actually melt the plastic or not. We would never know until you try to pull it. But I do know that you do find plastic bags with foam when they try to foam mold a really expensive piece inside a cardboard box to ship it and you pull it out. I mean, that's the best type of packaging you can get, like a foam. So I really don't know if that stuff expands and heats up or if it stays a pretty even temperature. But I know the pour foam gets really hot. It would probably get hot enough to at least compromise the plastic. Oh. Okay, let me see. Dang. Chris, you got a whole lot of support here, man. They're all backing you up. Okay, let me see here. Can you use water bottles? I would not use water bottles. Not ever. Like, pour foam in the bottles, getting the right expansion of those, they will explode. Trying to seal water bottles off is like sealed air. All it just takes is for the leak to break, and then that thing just becomes a water capsule. So that's a big deal with sealed compartments. I've seen people use sealed aluminum compartments, which that by itself is extremely just really hard to do. You got to be a really talented welder to get a completely airtight box. Oh, let me see. Yeah, everybody keep hitting the likes. 72 viewers. Let's go. Let's get the likes to 80. We'll start giving away a few gift cards because we still got at least $700 of gift cards left, I think, that we can give away to people. What size is the rod locker PVC? Oh, 1.5 is what I will be using. A lot of people will use 1 inch. I'll use 1.5 inches just in case you got to fit a like a spinning rod in there with bigger guides. You can even have like 1 2-inch pipe specifically for spinning rods. Like say you use mostly bait casters and 1 spinning rod. You can put a 2-incher in there, and that'll work. I actually got some black PVC. It's extremely light. You generally use the white stuff, the white pipes. And I found black PVC pipes. They're extremely light. Like I don't know what I've been doing all my life. I don't know if they just came out or how I missed them, but I'm putting those in here. They're a ton lighter, and those PVC is heavy. So I'll take any help that I can get with this boat since I had to use 1.25 inch tubing everywhere, and that was what I had in my stock. I had to bust that out to pull this whole thing off because I initially was not prepared for it. Golf tubes. I tried golf tubes RF, dude. You can't flare them at the end, but they are the lightest for sure. The golf tubes, unbeatable. You can get those on Amazon for like dirt cheap, but you can't flare the ends. The plastic is just not thick enough or pliable enough. even under extreme amounts of heat, to flare out the end. So you can't flare them out. So if you use those, you got to cut them flush and make some other kind of intricate design, or have a cap. I've seen some people make actual caps for the golf tubes to get that little flared out taper. And that works too. You guys should subscribe to Send It John Boats if you guys find out. He has hilarious videos where he runs around in a pink tutu and a unicorn costume. Some other things he does that are... He also is trying to purposely sink himself. And one of these videos, he's going to succeed. We just hope that we have it on camera. All right. All right, David. Let me see here. Yeah, it's I don't know if it's HDPE black pipe. I don't actually know, but it's really light. I got it at Home Depot. All right. Okay, no, Damien, don't call nobody any names in the chat. So we're trying to keep the chat peaceful. But Chris is just joking with the panel. So am I. Chris is just joking. You guys there? I had to edit. Okay, so thin wall furniture PVC for rod locker. Yeah, PVC holds a lot of heat though. So I don't like using PVC for that reason. It holds a lot of heat. Like if you heat the end of a rod tube and flare it out, like count the seconds on how long that thing stays hot. It stays hot for a very long time, heats up. It also shrinks and expands with temperature. PVC is just not a really good thing to use except for like tubes. I would never use PVC for a deck. I know people are all about it because it doesn't rot, but it dry rots from extreme sun, and it also expands and contracts unnaturally. So it's not going to expand and contract with metal framing very well. It's going to pull and crack. So rod tubes, I limit PVC use with just rod tubes for those reasons. For live well at the front of the boat, if the water has to travel 10 feet, wish system. The floor is supposed to be meant for live wells that sit pretty high above the subfloor from the end port. It's just meant to be a little bit better. But you can still do it on the 3. People have done it on the 3. I would definitely run the pump in the back. I don't know. I would try to run the pump in the back and just have a really strong, hard-working pump that'll get water all the way up there. You could also port the pump out of the side too. So if you have underneath the water line, you can port a through-hole fitting out of the side of the boat on a straight flat surface, and we have done that too. That's actually the better way. It's a better way because it's just less suction and pressure and strain on the pump. You immediately get the water fill. So use a Harbor Freight spool gun. Oh yeah, what happened to the prime weld? You still using the titanium spool? So I don't know if marine board PVC is any better than standard PVC, Sean, but PVC is personally a questionable thing. I'd rather use wood than PVC. Where is the best place to weld versus rivet? And I have used the Harbor Freight welder and a spool gun. The Vulcan's going to be better than the titanium, 100%. If you're going to go get one from Harbor Freight, you can also look into Prime Weld. They have a really good system for I think maybe even less money, and it works better, in my opinion, or just as good. But I mean, I have the Vulcan Omni Pro 220 and I also got a spool gun for it. It does do good. So let me show you here. Everywhere that you rivet, you should. So welding doesn't work for a whole large part of what we do here. So most of these things are riveted. These are flush mount countersink rivets. All right, most of what we need to do needs to be flat and symmetrical so things can go on top and lay on top and not be bumpy or movie. That would just jam up something. But welding is really good, like right here when we have tubing or thicker aluminum. So if you're using 1/8 inch angle, welding is preferred because the strain that 1/8 inch angle by itself will just do on the rivet over time is much different than what 1/16 inch angle, which is way more flexible and pliable, will do over time to the rivet as bending happens. Because when this stuff shutters, it's not as stiff as the 1/8 inch. So welding is better with thicker aluminum. In fact, when you're running 1/8 inch anything, welding just is the only thing that actually makes sense. Otherwise, you're going to start overlaying and stacking aluminum on top of each other just to get a flat surface. Where here, we got a pretty much flat surface just by welding, and it's not the prettiest job. But we now have a platform for that. We now have dual platforms for this. A very, very solid foundation for this monstrous hash that will probably store lots of things in. And then also platforms for all of this. So I couldn't have gotten these inner boxes without using tubes. And it would be really very, very hard and difficult to put any sort of riveted form of this and it lasts any sort of real amount of time. So, but these compartments, these steel compartments, are just something we're doing for the very front. The back does not have that. The only steel compartment for the back is the live well, but everywhere else, this is all T-framed aluminum angle, and all of that is riveted. This is a completely, almost 99% all riveted back here. And I mean, riveting pieces of sheet metal like that in between the T-framed angle, you can also put a piece of angle into the tubing and that works. That'll also stiffen it up pretty good. And you can run a piece of sheet metal. A piece of sheet metal that's thick enough, like 060, will act as a complete set of under supports. It'll be pretty good. And we're going to be running them this way too. So this is a pretty good example of all riveted versus mostly welded with some rivets. And you can get really, really good results out of both. You really, truly can. I would just... Honestly, every place I can rivet, any place that I can rivet, I do. There's some people out there, though, that call themselves fabricators, and they'll, I don't know, they try to weld everything. Like, if you've seen people try to weld the hinge, like, it looks super ugly. So if you go too far into it, some people are just stubborn. Like rivets are a curse word to welders. But I don't know. So don't confuse a welder with a fabricator. So it's funny. All right, we're at 75 likes. I think my son gave me a call, so I gotta give him a call. So let's go ahead and let's ask you. What show was my group and I just at? Hint: it was in. Chris was also there. Where did we all just recently congregate to go to one of the biggest shows for boating related shows out there in the country? And that winner gets a $50 gift card. It was Tampa, but what was the place called? What was the show called? Not the outboard show, no. Not ICAST. You'll never see me caught dead at an ICAST. Not the Miami Boat Show, no. Chris is excluded, guys. He can't win it, don't worry. No, not ICAST. One day, not today. Somebody else is probably going to go besides me. I don't want to go to ICAST. ICAST is stupid. Like, it's a bunch of, like only, like, 6 dudes, like, a handful of dudes own all those companies, so it's just them patting themselves on the back. And any new up-and-coming company, they try to steal those ideas. So, ICAST sucks. Don't support ICAST. It's stupid. And then, oh, who said Ibex? Somebody got it. Nathan Gray got it. And Matt, dude, you were one answer away. Matt, it shows on my screen Nathan Gray got it first. Nathan Gray, you got a $50 gift card. You got a $50 gift card. Congratulations. Email us at support@tbnation.net to claim it. That's been the better way versus messaging us on Facebook. So just, you'll message us and then tell us who you are, how you won it, what it was, $50 gift card. We'll hand that out. And then for a live well at the front of the boat, if the water has to travel for 10 feet, which the live well, I would say, Bill, the version 4. Try and get the version 4. You can do it with the version 3 though. It matters more where the pump is placed. If you got a live well 10 feet up into the boat, try and run it out the side of the hull, closer to the live well itself, underneath the water line, on a flat part of your boat where the through hole won't bind. That's better than running it all the way to the transom and running it 10 feet up. Run it through the transom if your live well is like this back here. That's smarter. Okay. Give us when you know, please. That wasn't very long ago, Damien. You knew all these other things. All right. All All right, one more. And then we're going to be giving away more. This one's for a $100 gift card. $100 gift card. Okay. What is the only bass boat that I've ever done that qualifies as a bass boat? It's not the Nitro. That I've actually finished. Chris got it. The Tracker 18. Should we take that? Yeah. It was a Tracker V18. So, Chris Newell, email us at support@tbnation.net. Claim that you're the winner of the $100 gift card. You won with this question, and we'll get you taken care of. Thank you, Chris. And shout out to the other winner. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at names. I already forgot, but you were very, very quick. I appreciate you guys watching these live streams and appreciate all the likes and the support and gathering in here. We'll be running it back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be farther along with this, where I have more stuff that we can talk about the motor and possibly this console installed. And we'll talk about how we installed that. All right, guys. Thank you. See you later.